Mario Ferraro hurt. The young Sharks defenseman hang in there as the Sharks lose 3-1 to the Colorado Avalanche. So all that and more on today's episode.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite tanking team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Probably a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day, and if you want to be an everydayer, all you gotta do is follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And the Sharks get demolished in the shot clock, but hang in there. And a 3-1 loss to the Colorado Avalanche, their 8th straight loss, as we are fully pushing towards that number one pick. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mario Ferraro leaving the game and kind of the rise of the young defenseman. Despite the Sharks not playing well tonight, Ty Emberson and Henry Thrun had some of their best games. Ty Emberson in his first game back. Henry Thrun, I thought, played really well as well. And then we'll catch up with some of the Sharks at World Juniors, thinking about a former junior Shark who will hopefully be a Shark at some point. But anyway, so before we get into all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So we have to start with the Mario Ferraro news, which is, of course, the big story coming out right now. Ferraro left the game after taking a hit from Nathan MacKinnon and did not return. It was late first period, and then they announced after the second period that he was not going to be back. So big news there as the Sharks continue to deal with injuries throughout the team. This, if you've been on any sort of Sharks social media, the Sharks have the most man games lost this season. And it's not particularly close as this team continues just to not have players available to them. So that's good. If assuming Ferraro is out for some point, we don't know. Shang Peng of San Jose Hockey Now had a doctor look like quick analysis said it looked like it was either a broken clavicle, which is really bad, or a separated shoulder, which is bad, but not as bad. And those can, depending on the severity of it, it could be where you can kind of play through it, like we saw William Eklund did for a good chunk of last year. Or you could get hit again and then all of a sudden it pops out and then you have to have surgery like William Eklund did last year. So, or it could be one of those things where he just needs a little Ferraro needs a little bit of rest. So expect Burrows to kind of who sat out tonight, and Vlasic, who is on the team but not really playing, would still be kind of those your other defensemen. If Ferraro's going to be out for a while, I would assume he would go on IR, and you would have a spot. Maybe that's where you could bring in Logan Couture. I don't know where Matt Benning is right now in his rehab. Leon Gavanke has been really good on the Barracuda and had 2 goals this weekend and really deserves to play in the NHL. But anyway, that's getting ahead of. We'll know more probably as the week goes on. I haven't heard if they're having practice tomorrow or not. When they get, probably not. I would assume assuming they're probably going to get the guys the day off for New Year's Day and then get back at it on Tuesday when the Sharks are playing. I believe it's the Red Wings that day. But the young Sharks defensemen really start. I was impressed. And again, the shots, everything. The Avalanche dominated this game, pace, shots, whatever you wanted. It felt like for good chunks of this game, it was 4-0, even though it was 1-0 for a majority of the game. But the young Sharks defenseman, Henry Thrun, Ty Emberson, Emberson in his first game back from his injury that he'd been out for nearly a month. They're starting to kind of come together. You have to kind of remember, right? Emberson's played, 20 games. Henry Thrun's played about 20 games in the NHL. Like, these guys are still kind of getting their feet under them, and it's a lot, especially with the way the Sharks play, where you are constantly in your own zone, getting just crushed, just hemmed in your own zone. But the Sharks did a good job of kind of limiting the damage, if that makes sense. So we usually kind of dig into the numbers a little bit later, but like at 5v5, the Avalanche had 61 shot attempts, right? Only 22 of them got on goal, and their expected goals for was 1.71. So like, the Sharks did a good job of kind of limiting the damage, keeping it on the outside, blocking shots, making it hard. Again, Colorado, they controlled the pace, they controlled possession, all that stuff. But credit to these Sharks defensemen who kind of made life hard. I mean, for this Colorado team, right? The way they were slinging pucks around, it felt like this was a 4-0 game halfway through the game, but it was still 1-0, right? And Kaapo Kahkonen made some huge saves. The Sharks got lucky with a couple. Nathan MacKinnon hitting the crossbar and post, all that fun stuff. But the young defenseman, I thought, played pretty well. And these are kind of these little building block games of, maybe your kind of first 20 games are like, okay, I'm in the NHL. Oh my gosh, I'm in the NHL. And now I think you're starting to get that, like, okay, I'm an NHL player, like that. Let's start to kind of build some confidence. And this is good for some of these young guys as they look to be future pieces, right? Especially a guy like Henry Thrun and Ty Emberson, who the Sharks acquired, and, Kalen Addison. Like, these young guys played a ton tonight, a absolute ton. I know Ferraro. So again, Ferraro being out, in the first period, he played, pulling up the stats right now. So Ferraro played Ferraro, we know, has been leading the team in time on ice. He played tonight 409. All right. Jan Ruda played 20, and not a young guy, right? Henry Thrun led the defense 2507. Ty Emberson 24-21. Ahochuk played 20-51, which is kind of right around where he normally is at. And then Ruda played 24-10, so he got a little bit of a bump too. But look at who David Quinn, right? Kind of one of the big big inflection points of the game, right? It's the 5-on-3. Henry Thrun's over the board with Jan Ruda. Again, I know they're out of people, right? Especially with Mario. That's normally Mario Ferraro's spot right there. Henry Thrun over the boards with Hurdle and Jan Ruda. And they did an awesome job killing that penalty. And, again, 5-on-3 there. They hung in there. They did an awesome job. Henry Thrun was the one who got the big clear. I've said it before. I keep saying, I think Henry Thrun's he's going to play like 15 years in the league just because of how smart he is and the way he plays the game. Is he going to be like a 50-point scorer? No. But like, he is just going to be a solid defenseman who's going to play. He's going to be your fourth best defenseman who's going to play a bajillion games in the league, because I just think he's just got all the makeup of it. And again, this is one of those building block games for Thrun. And the same thing for Ty Emberson, right? His skating, getting him out of trouble. I think those two guys, this is a huge game for the Sharks for as you're trying to, right? This whole season is, one, get the first pick in the draft, and two, find out which guys stick. And I think you got a couple guys here who are going to stick with Emberson and Thrun. So we'll dig into the numbers here in a little bit. And of course, we'll talk about some of these Sharks at the World Juniors as we're going to be getting now into the actual tournament play here. So we'll get into all that here in just 1 second. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same game parlays, which are super fun. So if you think, maybe the Dolphins are going to win and Tyreek Hill scores a touchdown, that seems like a good parlay to me. You can also find bets in the new Explore tab. You can see what other people are kind of betting. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays. You can kind of see what everyone else is betting and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, let's dig into the numbers and woof. So we had 46-38 of 5v5 time on ice, and again, the Avs dominated 61-28 shot attempts, Corsi 4 percentage, 68.54 to 31.46. Woof. The Sharks again, 11 shots on goal this entire game. That's not very good. For example, the Avs had 10 shots on goal in the first period, 11 shots on goal in the second period, and 12 shots on goal the third period. So every period they basically outshot what the Sharks did for the entire game. 32-11 scoring chances for the Avs, 8-7 high danger chances, 1.71 to 102 expected goals for. So that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier, where yes, the Sharks gave up a ton of shots, but they kind of made it a little bit, they kind of kept Kaapo Kahkonen clean, right? If you look at the heat map at 5v5, it's kind of a little bit out and more towards the dots instead of like right in front of the net. Like think about the Avs, think about the game, how many like where they're just right in front of the net. And that's kind of been the Sharks' butter, like kind of bread and butters. We'll give up some shots, but we're not going to give up a ton of high danger. And on the flip side, we're not going to create a lot of shots, but when we do, they're going to be worth it. So the Sharks are very much a quality over quantity offense. Again, 8-7 high danger chances in favor of the Avs. Again, scoring chances were way over, way in favor of the Avs. But when the Sharks, they got shots, it was close and dangerous. So, granted, it took them a little bit to get there. But was definitely an Avalanche just kind of owning this game. So, as for the forward line, so they started and flipped very quickly. So they started with so we had Zettel and Granlund Hoffman as your first line. Eklund, Hurdle, Zadina. That line quickly got flipped around. And then you had Barabanov, Studnicka, Kunin. And then Duclair played with Carpenter and Justin Bailey, but Duclair quickly moved up to the second line. So looking at actual time on ice, is that the Granlund line played the most at 10:52 time on ice at 5v5, 10-16 shot attempt. Again, all these numbers are going to look ugly just because of how poor the Sharks got outshot in this game. 10-16 shot attempts, 4-5 actual shots. Expected goals for was 0.44 to 0.24, so not too bad there. 4-8 scoring chances, 3-1 high danger chances in favor of them. That line. The Barabanov, Studnicka, Kunin line played 8-18, had 6-9 shot attempts, 2-6 actual shots, 0.28 to 0.39 expected goals for, 4-4 scoring chances, and 3-1 high danger chances for that line. So interesting to see there. Now the Studnicka is starting to kind of get his feet underneath him and kind of his impact, but I still think he is, when Sturm and Couture come back, hopefully it sounds like Couture might be inching closer. If Studnicka then kind of pops back down to the fourth line, you kind of try to figure it out from there. So the Eklund, Hurdle, Duclair line played 6:24. They had 3-8 shot attempts, 1-5 actual shots, 0 expected goals for, 0.15 expected goals allowed, 0-5 score chances, 0-0 high danger chances, with 8 defensive zone starts. So that was the line that Quinn was kind of relying on, the defensive zone there. Zadina, Carpenter, Bailey played 449, 6-5. So actually outshot, or at least shot attempt wise, 6-5, 3-2 actual shots on goal, 0.8 to 0.15 expected goals, 2-3 scoring chances, and 0-1 high danger chances for that line. And then we did see a little bit of the Eklund Hurdle Zadina line. Played 443, 1-6 shot attempts and 0-3 actual shots on goal. So the Hurdle line definitely drew the toughest assignments tonight, and that line kind of, whatever line that was on that line, definitely had its work cut out for him, and especially with all the defensive zone starts. So you're not going to be playing the Colorado Avalanche all the time, which can be an absolute buzzsaw, and it's kind of crazy that two of these games between the Sharks and the Avs have been these like grinded out, hang in there defensively types of games, and the Sharks came away with a point, one, and we're about 5 minutes away from coming away with another point in this game. So as for our dude Kaapo Kahkonen, who continues to just play really well, man. Kaapo Kahkonen, at the beginning of the season, right, it was all like, what do the Sharks want from Mackenzie Blackwood? The Sharks have to make a big decision on Kaapo Kahkonen as he enters his, last year of his deal. But 31 saves on 33 shots. Expected goals against was 3.16, and he gave up 2 goals. So another positive expected goals against game. 939 save percentage, better save percentage than Georgiev, just because Georgiev literally just didn't see enough shots tonight, which is kind of funny to me. Anyway, Georgiev was at least 5-on-5. Georgiev did what he was supposed to do, but still, anyway, 4-4 on high danger saves. So again, Sharks push things out as speaking of those young defensemen, helping out their goaltender, blocking shots, and kind of pushing things out and trying to make it life easy for them. So 13 of 13 mid-danger saves, 13 of 15 low-danger saves, all situations again. So, I mean, the 2 goals he gave up, right? The one was it's a low dangerous because it's the position, right? It's just way off in the right. It's considered a low danger, at least like the game-winning goal, right? Is a low-danger shot, even though Kaapo Kahkonen had no chance on that, right? Just because of the puck movement and the play of the Avalanche there. But Kaapo Kahkonen, man, he's been playing really, really well. Like it's awesome to see him kind of quietly put together a really strong run of play. I think, like kind of looking back since Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving-ish, like he has put together some really, really good play this since then, and it's good to see, especially after what we saw from him last year. So hopefully continue. Blackwood was the backup tonight. Magnus Krona was sent down. Played pretty well, I thought, over the weekend for the Barracuda. But these are going to be the 2 guys, and the Sharks, we'll see what happens when it comes to trade deadline with one or both of these goalies are out. I hope not both, because the Sharks, I would hate to see them throw McAnemy and Magnus Krona out to the Wolves like that for the last 2 months of the season. That just those guys are not quite ready for the NHL. Maybe E2 McAnemy, but like that's a lot to ask for those guys, especially a guy like McAnemy who hasn't really been able to stay healthy for an entire season. So again, it'll be interesting to see what they do. If not, it's not like they can't just trade for a goalie, who's on expiring contract to hold down the fort and at least till the end of the season. So we'll get into the Sharks at the World Juniors and kind of look at who's playing what's going on here as they start to get into the actual tournament play in just 1 second. All right. Going to start by saying I did not watch the Team USA game because it was on at 3 a.m. And yeah, that sounded terrible to get up at 3 a.m. So did not watch the Team USA. So we're going to kind of look at more of a bigger picture of where kind of all the players are right now. And of course, our soon-to-be boy, Macklin Celebrini, hopefully, right? As for kind of the scoring leaders, right? I think Casper Holtonen is actually leading among Sharks prospects. Casper Holtonen is leading in his 4 games played, 3 goals, 3 assists, had another power play goal today. That dude loves shooting the puck and he's really good at it. So he's been a big part of Finland's success. I did watch the end of that game, the Finnish Sweden game. Did get stuffed on the shootout attempt there, but Holtonen's had himself a pretty solid at least start to it. So Beasted is next. So he's got 4 points in 4 games, including 3 goals. So 3 goals and assists. And Beasted looks to be a big kind of part of Team Sweden and how successful they are going to be. Will Smith has had a little bit. It's been a little disappointing. And remember, these tournaments, right? You have to kind of take them with a grain of salt. And with Will Smith, he hasn't been bad. It's just he hasn't gotten an opportunity to play as much as you would hope, right? And does have 3 points in 4 games, but he's been playing on the third line, and the lines in front of him have just been playing better, right? Frank Nazar has been amazing. Gavin Brindley's been amazing. Like, a lot of these guys have been really awesome. Granted, some of these guys are a little bit older. I know Brindley was the same draft class this year, but like Nazar was the year before. Like Cutter Gauthier, these guys are just a little bit older. So I think for Will Smith, right, playing on the third line, I think he's making the most of his opportunities. And hopefully maybe as the tournament goes on, he continues to kind of gain some more. And again, it's one tournament, right? One tournament. You don't want to overreact to one tournament, especially with what we have seen from Will Smith so far at Boston College. So, like Cutter Gauthier's got 7 points or 8 points in 4 games. Like Frank Nazar has been the best player for Team USA. It's like, he's playing on the third line right now. So, as for the defenseman, I think Havlid really kind of has seen his game. I think his games look really good. So, so far here in the tournament. And he's been a integral part, as Sweden has been very much a defensive team, right? They didn't give up their first goal of the tournament until, at least the round robin, until the 4th game. So, and Furlong, I think, has played pretty well as well. Again, from what I've seen, I haven't gotten to watch too much of Canada. But Furlong, from what I've seen, has played pretty well. He's been kind of playing that middle pairing for Team Canada. I know Team Canada's had some issues, especially kind of scoring, and they're dealing with some issues on the forwards right now. And then Polkamp has been like the 7th defenseman mainly for Team USA right now. So, heading into, so now they're going to be starting we're going to be set for the playoffs here. So US is going to be playing Latvia first. So that starts on January 2nd. No games on January 1st here. And then we have Team Sweden is playing Switzerland. And then those two, assuming US and Sweden both move on, we'll have a big game between those two. Team Canada is playing Team Czechia. That should be a good game. Czechia has been really, really good so far this tournament as well. And then we have Slovakia, who is playing Finland. So we could be seeing semifinals filled with a bunch of Sharks here. So, but so far, it's been a really, really fun tournament. I've enjoyed what I've gotten to watch. So it stinks that it's on at some ungodly hour in the morning sometimes, but that's what it is. Time zones are a funny thing. So, but yeah, again, don't panic if, like Will Smith, the point production is there. It's one tournament, right? What we've seen at Boston College has been really good, and he's been playing and a lot of tough skills, tough teams there. So don't panic on Will Smith because the tournament isn't panning out how we hoped for it would be. But look at Beasted, look at Havlid, look at Furlong, look at Casper Holtonen. Casper Holtonen is he's been cranking out a bunch of points on the power play, but you're seeing that 5-on-5 that you're not really kind of seeing with London because he's getting more of an opportunity with it. So that's what you want to see, right? And Macklin Celebrini, who has been the best player for Team Canada. He's been the best player for Team Canada this so far this tournament. And it's not Connor Bedard what we saw last year, but like Celebrini's been doing just fine. So, he has 8 points in 4 games, including 4 goals. And I think Macklin Celebrini is going to be a really, really nice piece for the Sharks if they get in the position to draft him. So that's going to do it for me tonight. Happy New Year's to you, whenever you're listening to this. Want to thank you guys personally for everybody who's supported me, even if you've watched just one episode or listened to one episode, or if you just clicked on one of my articles or whatever you've done to support me. I appreciate it. I still can't believe I get to do this and talk to you guys. Again, I'm just an idiot with a microphone, and for some reason people seem to enjoy it. But again, thank you guys so much. It means a lot. Hopefully 2023 is amazing. Right, went to the draft, covered the draft in Nashville. Hopefully 2024 we're gonna be in Vegas for that first overall pick. So that's the hope. But I will most likely be in Vegas unless like something catastrophic happens. But planning on being in Vegas for the draft. Going to be the best year of Locked On Sharks, et cetera, et cetera. As we close in almost 1,000 episodes for me of Locked On Sharks that'll be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So that's going to be it for me today. Enjoy your New Year's. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a prospect dive on some of the guys who are starting to kind of come out of Christmas break here. So that'll be it. Make sure you follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can also get the podcast wherever you get podcasts. Watch on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. Until tomorrow. Bye, friends.